How do you prepare the first rehearsals when a piece is having its world premiere?
When you produce a piece for a long, long time, you are not just from a composing point of view, fix this and that, but also from a conducting point of view, you have composing and conducting, conducting and composing. When you write the piece, preparing the conducting already. Actually, when you conduct, you are fixing the composition. It's kind of a processing to make the music happen. That, for me, I learned so much from Gustav Mahler and Bernstein, Stravinsky.
Was there any instance where you revised details of your score during the first rehearsals?
A conductor should be a good musician. For a musician, we're working towards the simplicity. We may using a lot of complexity, complicated skills, actually, to make things natural and to make things simple. When you're composing this piece for a long, long time, of course, time will preserving yourself much more. And when you think about a certain way of playing, from a composer's point of view and from a conductor's point of view, it's different, actually. So when you actually present this piece to the orchestra, you see, you change the role. You're no longer a composer, you are a musician. You are practically, technically, to connect yourself into the spirit and to make an orchestra sounding virtuoso and to make every orchestra want to play and to make every musician enjoy to play. I think that's also a goal of composer and the conductor. And as a conductor, it's very, very important to always share with your musician, hey, I'm one of you. And you play with me, I play with you. So when you do your conducting skill, and you have to let people feel you are playing.
Is there a difference between conducting a piece like Stravinsky's The Firebird and your original compositions?
When you're conducting an old piece, actually it's a new composing process because a lot of gestures, a lot of sounding, you have to make your own accent, your natural expressions of your language. For example, I am a Chinese. I was a shaman in the village. I was always feeding my arts with the landscape, with the field, with the mountain and the rivers. So anything when I touch, conducted by so many people, but I always have my own spiritual road to make things breathing with the nature, to make things simply to blend it with my history. When I conducted Firebirds, I did so much research on Stravinsky conducting. I found Stravinsky is very much focused on the Spartan exposure, and his conducting is very explosive, and the contrast is amazing. Stravinsky also said, you know, when the orchestra gets big, really, really big orchestra, you always forgot how solo, how chamber expressions become so important and precious. When the ensemble getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I always telling myself, hey, small, small, small. And that you will have the best sound and the best emotions.
What are the biggest challenges when there is an audience participation?
Every performance for classical orchestra or for jazz, for rock or whatever, is an audience participation. To me, to make music without audience, it's ridiculous. I enjoy to communicate with the audience, and this piece, Passacaglia, specifically wants to have a moment to share with everybody, hey, please return my city. Please give my sky clean again. Please let the black air disappear. Please let the birds talk. Because the birds always the translator between heaven and the earth. So when the birds are talking, our society is much more peaceful. So I want to make this Passacaglia as a sort of a matching piece with rhythmic guidance and harmonic guidance with all the audience.
How do you prepare the very first rehearsal with an orchestra you never conducted before?
Sometimes it's like a dating. When you are told actually you are going to meet someone first time, and of course you are a little nervous. I mean, in case they don't like you, or in case they love you so much, maybe too much. So there are a lot of things happening. You have to prepare actually how to introduce yourself musically. For example, as a composer, I always want to tell them about my story. How could I find the sound through an interesting life story? To me, life is music, and music must be a life of mine. And as a composer and the conductor, you always want to share actually how, why we meet, for what. And of course, if you communicate well, it's like a dating. Later on, all the compromise will be much more interesting.
How much do you allow your initial sound ideas to evolve through the rehearsal process?
As a conductor, when I conduct so many pieces from old to new, I always think the instrument, the orchestra, the classical music is like a big river. They're floating from a past far away at your foot. And you cannot let this river dry or stop here. The classical music is fascinating. It's because this music is involved the whole worldwide. All those orchestras, no matter from east and west, the north and south, we're all one side searching our past, beautiful past, artistic phenomenon. But also we are all creating together our future, our beautiful river flowing towards the ocean of galaxy. So the musical creation needs a lot of people contributed from saying different language and different cultural background. But the same orchestration, same instrumentation becomes so diverse, so meaningful. And all of those need artists, conductor, and composers, and our audience working together as a one.
Do you have a special pre-concert routine?
I love to jump on the stage to have one piece of a mint, just very, very powerful mint, just a little. And that gives you wow. And you heard the orchestra have a tuning. Then that becomes like, hey, 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 hey. Then door open, Vong, go, please. Fantastic. So that moment you feel you are a shaman again, you are ritual dancing again, you are fire dancing again. So that moment you feel you make music together with everybody